We spend a lot of time analyzing boomers and millennials, and lately we've dissected Gen Z like they're a fascinating new species. But there is an entire demographic sitting right in the middle, born roughly between 1965 and 1980, that barely gets mentioned. Generation X just quietly exists. You know them. They're the older coworkers who never complain about the workload. They're your parents who seem oddly detached. They are the people who built the framework of the internet, but rarely post about their own breakfast. This silence isn't an accident. Because nobody talks about it, the psychological profile driving this group remains largely misunderstood. In 1978, for millions of 8-year-olds, the routine was the same: unlocking the front door and walking into an empty, silent house because both parents were at work. There were no smartphones, no Ring cameras, and no way to check in. They made a smirk, did their homework, and waited. At a formative age, an entire generation learned that external help often wasn't coming. This created a high-contingency environment. It's a setting where an action triggers an immediate consequence, with zero buffer time to negotiate or explain away a mistake. When their parents finally walked through that door, the rules hit hard. If you stepped out of line while they were gone, you paid for the mistake right then and there. Growing up like this habituated their brains to predict outcomes in real time. It forced a persistent focus on secondary and tertiary consequences as a basic survival skill. Gen X also watched the adults around them promise stability while divorce rates surged throughout the 70s and 80s, fracturing the nuclear families they were told were secure. They saw people give their prime years to companies, only to be hit by the first waves of modern corporate restructuring and sudden layoffs. This environment forged defensive pessimism, a calculated psychological armor used to anticipate disaster, because for them, disaster was a historical norm. This guarded mindset informs their relationship with social media. To them, broadcasting personal details to strangers feels inherently risky. They learned early on that visibility can mean vulnerability. They use irony to keep things at arm's length. It's an evolved mechanism designed to maintain distance and minimize risk in an unpredictable world. This drive for self-reliance started with early employment. Before the era of specialized internships, 12-year-olds were running paper routes at dawn or calculating change by hand when a register failed. It was a raw introduction to adult responsibility. Even acquiring information required physical effort. Finding a fact meant spending hours navigating analog library card catalogs. Psychologists call this deeper encoding. Because information had a physical cost, the retrieval process made the knowledge stick. Without a tutorial to search for, they learned to fix things with their hands. They developed a mechanical intuition, a belief that with enough patience and a screwdriver, you could master the physical world. That extreme capability in a crisis often stems from an ingrained unwillingness to depend on others. For many in Gen X, asking for help can feel like admitting a loss of control. Now, they are raising children in a different world. They've replaced the unmonitored afternoons of their youth with constant supervision and digital documentation. But giving their kids the attention they never had creates a private worry. They fear that removing the friction they grew up with has made the next generation too visible and too dependent. They are the final group to truly understand what it means to exist without a digital connection, to sit with boredom and solve problems alone. They function as a structural bridge, anchored in a dying analog past while supporting the weight of a hyper-digital future. Ultimately, they continue to do the essential work and remain largely unbothered by the fact that the world has mostly stopped noticing.